Hey guys, welcome back to Micho Makes. My name is Micho. I like to make stuff. Today I've got part number 24 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Okay, let's dive into the catalog here. Looks like we're going to be looking at the... it's pretty cool. It's actually a A86 Rivals, the Nissan Sunny. And then this is the Corona. It's not a rival, but it's just more information about the Corona. So yeah, it looks like we're talking about the Nissan Sunny. Now this obviously is an earlier model. I don't believe it was actually in the kind of. I think this is more like the 1970s styling, but it definitely was a Corolla rival that they were trying to kind of fight against from Nissan. You can take a look at that too as well if you'd like to pause and read. I'll try to get this, make sure this is in focus for you. Now that right here, the 306 Nismo, that definitely looks like it would be rivaling the 86. You can see the 80s body styling with the rear hatch too, and obviously it's the coupe rear hatch, but definitely almost looks like a Jetta V-Dub. Yeah, Jetta styling. Definitely takes inspiration from the Quattro, the Audi Quattros, rally styling too in the 80s too as well. Pretty cool styling actually for Nissan to make a vehicle like this, but definitely trying to rival the popularity of the AE86 too as well. You don't really see any Sunnies in America. They pop up here and there, but they're usually imports. And this is the Corona, RT40 Corona. Let you take a peek at that. Very 1960s, 1970s body styling there too as well. Oh yeah, right down there, 1964 to 1970. And we're right into the build itself. And it looks like we again have the rear spring supports from the frame. It looks like these are part of the forelinks too as well. Looks like we're getting a new screwdriver too. And actually, we're going to be cutting some hose too. So let's get this all pulled out of here on the packaging. Okay, starting out with the screws, we've got WM, looks like. A WM right here. GM. AHM. I've never seen that before. And it looks like that's it for the screws. Oh, it looks like we have a new screwdriver here. Let's take a look at that. It's obviously a little bit longer than the one I originally had. Oh, actually, let me turn the slide on real quick. Obviously much longer. You can see that. The tip looks a little bit more narrow too. You can see it from what we've been working with. Still very nice, cool. So it looks like, oh, and don't forget in previous parts we actually did get these tweezers too from DeAgostini too as well in the kits. Take a look at these parts here. Oh yeah, these are metal. And this definitely looks part of the four-link suspension. They'll hold the rear axle up, it looks like. Feels like it. This is metal too as well. I was just trying to feel if it was cold or not. Yes, it is metal. The other one definitely got a little heft to it. Looks like we have a rear suspension support too as well. That's going to go on the body. 1 and 2. We've got another, I think a suspension support hanger, looks like. Then we actually have a piece of Maybe it looks like the part of the engine. Right there. I wonder if that's part of the brake system too. That's going to get attached to the body. Not too sure. Let me make sure this is in focus for you guys too. See that piece right there. Cool. Then we've got rear hoses, and this might be actually, I don't know if it's brake line or what. That's a lot of hose actually. I'll take a look. And then it sure looks like the rear spring supports that are going to be hanging down off the back, with the bump stops and everything. Looks like not obviously not the rear axle, but it's going to be. It might actually be part of the rear axle. I don't think so. Maybe. We'll take a look though, and see what it is. And that's it. Okay, first part is actually cutting some vinyl tube. So looking at this diagram here, it looks like we will use a brand new screwdriver. We have 130 millimeters right here, 100 millimeters, and then 340 millimeters. We're going to need to make in order to kind of get the tubing that they want us to have. 340 millimeter one is going to be a little bit more difficult because the ruler I have here goes up to 150. So it shouldn't be too hard, but we just kind of have to eyeball it right. I'm really curious about what we're going to be using this for. I could skip ahead, but we'll see. So I'm just going to take this apart. This is quite a lot of tube. This is not wire. This is tube. So it's literally has a hole in the end. You can kind of see that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, it's got a hole in the end. So it's not wire. This is not for any electronics just yet. But yeah. So first one is going to be 100 millimeters. You've got 100 millimeters right here. Let's make sure you can see that. We're just going to measure this out. Do our best. Make it look really good. Now, they did say if you need to, tape this down. And again, I'm using my metal ruler here that I have, just because it's going to be a little bit easier to kind of keep everything nice. They do give you kind of a ruler as well in the plans itself. So if you don't have one, you're not kind of screwed. So we'll just mark this real quick. Right here. Looks good. Cleaner cut than that. Excellent. 100 millimeters. All right, so let's do 320. This is vinyl too, so I believe that I'm not trying to stretch it out or anything, but what I'm trying to really use is the heat from my hands to try to straighten this out just a bit, so there's not this many kinks in it. I don't want to I don't want to struggle with trying to get this to be straighter. Luckily, this metal ruler is kind of thicker than what if I had to do this on a piece of paper. So I'll just be able to press down on the ruler itself, but also the hose too. So next one's 130. Got 130 right here. Make sure I get the best I can. There you go. 130. All right, and then this next one is going to be a little bit more difficult. 340. So I'm going to do my best not to cut this funky, but we'll see what happens. So we got 150 here, so let's do that twice, and then 40 after that. So we'll mark it. Okay, 150. I'll just kind of use my nail as a guide. Another 150 right there. And from there, I'll kind of maybe just give it a mil. 340. So we'll just take that 40 there. Got to get a better X-Acto knife. There it is. All right, 340 mils. Excellent. Put those to the side right now. I've got this extra piece just in case if I screwed up anything else, but hopefully that 340 should be good. Put that extra piece to the side. They always give you extra, which is awesome. Just in case. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, next step is going to involve, looks like one of these here, and a arm, and then one of these two as well. I'll go and zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. And we're going to take a WM screw. Here. It's pretty long. And I think we're supposed to use the new screwdriver too. Looks like it fits real good. This piece actually is going to be taking the WM right here. Oh, there actually are. I didn't even notice this. There are two different sides. Let me see if I can zoom in on that and make sure you can see it. There's definitely a size difference between these two ends. So you have a thicker side right here and a thinner side right here. So we're going to take the thicker side and put it in this one right here. And it looks like it goes in this orientation here. Alright, I took a little finagling to get this actually in here just because it's a longer screw, but yeah, I definitely wanted to just get a little nub. You can actually see I haven't screwed it in all the way just to make sure that this gets locked in too as well. So I'll try to get that locked in. Just holding it down and just going for it. One's good on this side. And there is a difference on this one. I just noticed on the instructions is that there's a sharp side here. Can I see that? The difference in the look of this sharp side, and then this kind of edge side. And it looks like we're using in this orientation right here with this side, this flat side, this edge side right here, instead of this one, that sharp right angle side. And this orientation right here. And it looks like we're using the GM screw on this one. Oh, actually I have the wrong orientation. So they actually do express that you want the screw on this side down here, but then you want the screw on this side up here. So let's get this aligned right again. Oops. We'll actually go and get this started on this side before I get the shaft in, just to give it a little bit of bite. There, you can see that just like that. It's oriented correctly this direction right here. Just set this way. Hold it a little bit. They actually do recommend too in the instructions that if it's hard to hold this together, to use like a piece of towel or something to help get you a grip, because it doesn't feel super good on the fingers. You can see my fingers kind of holding that. Just trying to hold this thing together without it falling apart. Because they're pretty small parts, obviously. Okay. Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel good trying to wrench this down, but once you get threaded, it's pretty good. I think it's what happens is that in this painting method, or it's not necessarily a powder coat, but painting, I don't think there are preset threads, so these are not threaded already, and you're basically creating the threads. Let's look at this other part. And there is a leftover paint inside that makes it pretty difficult to actually get threaded on. But with that, this wedge is complete. I'm just comparing the images of what they have here. Looks like I need to thread this down just a little bit more. Okay. Now we're actually taking this piece, and yes, actually this is the rear axle. So my mistake. This is the proper rear axle that we have here. Just the bottom part, it looks like, of the rear axle. So in the orientation that we have here, for this piece specifically, we're going to be inserting this right here on the rear axle right there. And let's see here. Go to the next page real quick. We're going to use the AHM screw for that piece there. And that is indeed part of the 4-link, as I mentioned before. 4-link suspension. And you can see these screws are much different. You can kind of see that. Yeah, much more different than what we've been used previously. Put that in there. It's aligned right. Cool. Bring this around so you can see. Hold this up instead, because I feel like I can't get good torque from this, just leaving it on the table. That looks set. Awesome. Alrighty. And that's this one. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next one we have here. Same thing, let's get this oriented correctly. Then we're going to be using the WM screw. Again, the orientation does matter on this one, actually, too. We're going to take this piece here, fat side of the 4-link here. Sure, let me get this in focus for you guys. Fat side of the 4-link here inserted, and then we're going to actually be inserting the screw this direction. So I'm going to get it started. Alright, that looks nice and set. Again, in this direction that they have me telling me to do. We're going to take the GM screw now. Put on this side, and let's look at the edge. Again, we've got the edges that are flat, kind of flat right here, and then sharp right there. It's the orientation here, and the screw is going to go on this bottom side right there. can see it actually sticking out just a little bit right there. Maybe a little too much because I can't get the suspension part in. I want to get it started just a little bit so it doesn't fall out. What actually you could do, if you're assembling one yourself, is screw this in all the way just so it cuts the threads first. You have to mess around with holding the drive shaft in. Now the shaft, sorry, not drive shaft, but the shaft in. The shaft is going to help align too, so maybe I won't do that just yet. We'll put this in first. Do our best to make sure this gets aligned right. There you go. Oop. So hitting the edge of it. Alright, now we're in. That's nice and set. Okay, let's get this down. Cool. That one's set. I got it oriented correctly. The screws where the instructions said I should be putting them. And now we're going to be putting this one right here. Okay, it looks like I actually screwed up. And let me zoom out real quick. I put this one on the wrong side. So this one's got to go down here, it looks like. There is an orientation guide kind of on the instructions here where this first one was supposed to go, so I put it on the wrong side. I was confused when I was looking at the picture. I was like, oh. It's okay. Just move it. That's why I really like the fact that these are screws. Nothing is set in stone. And this is why they give you a ton of extras. I love that. Alright, got that one moved, and now that means I get to put this one back the other spot. So, that right here. Alright. And that is this step for the rear axle complete. So yeah, really cool looking. Couple 4-links done. That's that for this part. We actually have some hose stuff that we've got to get done because don't forget we've got this little guy here. So trying to figure out what this actually part is. Let's take a look. Okay, so literally the instructions say this little piece right here is brake tube connector. Okay, with the brake hose connector, as the term is called, is set in the orientation of the picture that we have here. It looks like we are going to be attaching the 130 millimeter one to this left side here, like so. That, and then we're going to take the 100 millimeter one. It's going to be on this right side here. Okay, and then this 340 millimeter one is going to go right in the center. Like so. And my hoses do not look nearly as nice as they have it in the picture, but that's it. That's the whole part. We just get this hose connector on this, or hoses connected on this hose connector, and then the bottom part of the rear axle done, and that is part number 24 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. Really do appreciate your time and watching and sticking with this part. I know that was a little bit different because we have the rear axle going on, but if you like this video, please give it a like and a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. Share it with your friends. If you know somebody who's interested in AE86s, I'd love to have them join on board and really just kind of follow along. let's take a peek at what's going to be happening in next issue number 25. It looks like we did the front, now we have the rear sway bar. It looks like we have some more, the other two parts of the forelink and the other brackets too as well. So join me for that part too as well. I do appreciate your time and sticking with me on this project. I know it's going to be a lot more to go, but really, again, thanks very much. My name is Michio Makes, and I really do appreciate your time. I'll see you guys in part number 25. Bye for now.